was waving at you.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved like a tree. Following the animal. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not.
What a sub, eh? Don't want that sub, diced anything in them, man. Yeah, they should.
There you go, there's the final stages of Everton 2, Chelsea 0.
so brightly. Everton, spirit of the blues.
An amazing atmosphere here, Goodison, just unbelievable. The Corey's doing a lap of honour, giving it loads to the Chelsea fans. Now he's at the Gladys Street end with Beto. Just brilliant. A game full of so many boss moments for Everton. Because I think the players were running empty there. There were a lot of loose possession loss in the second half. And they had to dig in, but fucking hell, they dug in. They battled and scrapped. They were so made up at the ball. Here comes Amadou Onana. Just Lewis Dobbins' goal, just an amazing moment. And they deserved it. Chelsea were absolutely crap. And listen, it might be cliche, but that £1 billion can't buy you what's in the stadium right now.
Expect 6 points out of Everton game, did you?
But yeah, I'll leave you with the strangest spirits of the Blues, and then we'll get back to the Denbigh. Fucking hell.
City 1-2-1.
Everton, Everton,
Yeah, we're back in the Denbigh Castle. A whole host of people here to reflect on that. Who wants to do the 30-second summary? Anyone? Keith?
Everton were great, Chelsea weren't. Everton won. Well, 2-0. Another collective of poverty fans feeding the Scousers 3 points.
Yes.
Can't complain with that, can you? By the way, just a quick one on that. I don't know if any of you have noticed any time a set of fans sing it now, the big screens put up an advert for the food bank, which is just absolutely sensational from the club.
I was worried that the club had put that up and then Chelsea started singing that in response to it, but either way, great work from the club. But what a performance. Mark Moseley, I'll come to you first, mate. 3 wins in a week, no goals conceded. We'd be competing for European football if it wasn't for this 10-point deduction. What a turnaround it's been.
I'll publicly state yet again my admiration and sole trust in Sean Dyche as Everton manager. Collectively at the table here, I think we can all agree that we never had a doubt that this was the direction it was going in. But I think, the major thing for me today, obviously, the tap-in point to make is that we're obviously converting chances at a slightly better rate than what we've been used to. I think debatably both chances and both goals today that ultimately went in were chances that we probably spared a few weeks ago. And I think the major takeaway for me is just how comfortable we look when we do get into that winning position. I know a lot has been made this week about how important the first goal is in Everton games. But when we do get that goal, you really do get the sense of this team knows how to defend the lead. Clean sheets are not a thing that any of us are used to, home or away, in recent years. And for us to be putting a few of those together now with relative ease against teams who have come to Goodison Park in good form, with good attacking players, I think for us not to be troubled, I'm thinking back to Jordan Pickford's involvement today, a good save in the first half from range and then a couple of drilled low efforts in the second half. I think he'll walk away from that ground thinking that he's been gifted a relatively easy afternoon. So I think the negative opinions that we've had about Sean Dyche in the past has been that all of those typical Sean Dyche kind of things that his teams do, we've massively lacked. And I think today was a great example of a team who knows how to take its chances, be aggressive. I think all we ever want from an Everton team, be it going forward or in defence, is to be aggressive. We've all been coming to this ground long enough to know that is the mantra of how this football club has to play, and I think that is something that he's channeled very well out of sometimes technically limited footballers, but very much footballers who know how to work hard and be a collective, and I think we very much reap the rewards of that today.
Dave Downey, two wins in a row for us felt massive after beating Newcastle on Thursday. 3 in a row in the Premier League, 3 in a week, no goals conceded. I don't think we can understate how big an achievement it is for this team.
No, it really is, and like Mark said, I echo about what Sean Dyche has done in terms of the players we've got. I think he's finally found out what's the best out of each of them. They've got the limitations, we know this, it's happened in recent seasons, recent years. Players we've got not able to do the jobs that they've been asked to do. Now you look at a side that, for instance, Michalenko, he knows how to play him as a left-back player. You know, the thing that really scared me in this, to start with the typical negative, was the fact that he started young right-back, which we all moan about anyway. The fact that he was up against Mudryk, I was shitting myself. He's one of my favourite players, although he's done absolutely nothing in the Premier League. Before he came over here, I thought he was like lightning. He's so quick. Ashley Young going off for Patterson, bit of a godsend really, because I thought Patterson just put him in his arse pocket for most of it, and that was the outlet for them for most of the game, and I thought he was superb when he came on. I'm sick of him not starting at right back. But the changes from Dyche as well, looking at Idrissa going off, he had the yellow card, you knew that was going to come again. When it happened, what was it, half an hour in, something like that, he got a yellow card. I thought, if he's staying on here, I fear the lad, because that's what he does. Putting Onana on for him, there was so much intelligence from how Dyche managed that game, and I think it happens a lot, doesn't it, in various clubs. It hasn't happened with us for a long time, but momentum is really gathering speed, and that's, like you mentioned here, 3 games on the spin. Ironically, the 2 at Goodison, we've actually got 3 wins at home now. We only had 1 before that against Bournemouth, and I see such togetherness from this side. There was a typical Decore game where you couldn't put your money on which way it's going to go with Decore. You've mentioned that before a lot. Today I thought he was magnificent.
It's going one way at the moment, isn't it? He's just scoring loads of goals all the time. Like, I think that's 11 and 31 he's got now since Dyche came in. Like, he's very much the player now, isn't he? That when the ball drops in the box, it's him you want it to fall to. As long as he's taking it first time, he's a great finisher first time.
Yeah, he is, and that's something that's been underrated probably by most teams. If you're assessing when you're coming to play Everton, the first thing you're not going to look at's Decore. Also with us, the working rate he's got, that he comes out of his position that we want him in there, that round about 10 where he is. Performances like today, he's running into the wing often, he's running back, he's doing everything he wants, he's got all sorts of energy. Don't know if you looked at his Twitter, like 10 minutes from the game finishing, he's going absolutely crazy for being an Evertonian. And you think typically when a player gets 1 year extra contract, he just sits off. And he's looked fantastic today, and Dobbin coming on and scoring that goal as well.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely magnificent to see that.
Got to talk about that moment, Connor, Lewis Dobbin coming on. I was surprised that Dyche went to him, to be honest. Although Harrison was having a bit of a stinker in the second half, but just a boss moment that, wasn't it? Like, everybody ran to the corner to celebrate with him, didn't they?
Yeah, like when I could see him warming up from where I sit, I was thinking he's taking a bit of a risk here bringing Dobbin on, because Danjuma was still warming up and Danjuma's so and so on the wing. But I seen Dobbin, I thought, you know what, fair play. Like, he's having a go. This is gonna go whatever way it goes. And then he looked lively when he came on. He was nipping about, chasing that fullback whose name escapes me at the minute. And then when he hit it, I didn't think he'd hit it at first. I thought someone else had hit it. And then I spotted him, and you could see him and Maya, like, in front of everyone else, just buzzing. And I was happy for him. And I was saying all throughout the game, Harrison was having a stinker. We'd have been better with George on the wing there today. He was just awful. But fair play, he put the yards in on Thursday, and you allow him to have a game off. But as the lads have said, their collective effort again, just absolutely unbelievable, and you can't fault them. Just 9 wins from 13 now, just unbelievable.
Is that what it is? 9 from 13.
So I think it was 8 from 12 on midweek, so 9 from 13. Last loss would have been United.
Oh, yeah. That's mad. I mean, that it's great seeing a young player come on like that, isn't it, Keith? And just, I think you were saying, Mose, that he had the look on his face to say, like, I can't believe it was me who scored that. But I just love celebrations like that where every player on the pitch just you see all these like little dashes of blue just converge in one bit of the pitch in the corner. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh, it was lovely as well, wasn't it? Because when you think just before the corner was when they'd announced that it was 7 minutes of injury time, and everyone's sort of getting that little bit twitchy, aren't they? You're thinking, God, we really should have put this to bed earlier. It's going to be a right kick in the giblets if we lose, like if we drop points now. And then, I mean, first off, it's a good ball in from James Garner from the corner, because it's a keeper that's just come on. He's been on the pitch about 10 minutes. Put a bit of pressure on him, put the ball on top of him with a big forward. Was it Doucouré that was jumping with him, or Onana? There you go.
I don't know why it was Dwight McNeil, but it was.
Put him under a bit of pressure, and he's not dealt with it well. And the ball's just sit up perfectly, and it's one of those moments where you're like, this is flying in the corner, or it's heading down Prior Road. You know? It's one of the two. There's going to be no in between. It's not going to be close. And luckily, he's hit it absolutely perfectly. And you see what it means to him. All the pictures are doing the rounds on Twitter of his face after. I'm absolutely made up for him. And like you say, the whole team going over, it sort of embodies that team spirit that's come about again and is back. And you've seen it on Thursday night with Beto's goal as well, when they all rushed over. The puppies of localised conflict are back. They are back, baby.
It's a great point about, I think, not only for that second goal in terms of Dwight McNeil's involvement, but the first one as well. I think the second one, I don't know what the plan is for individuals at attacking set pieces, but you would ordinarily expect to see a winger like him just being a bit of a spare part in the box. And if he has used a bit of intellect to think, I'm going to go and put that previously unheard of goalie under pressure, then it's absolutely what you expect him to do. The first one, I think we were all screaming for him to go down on the halfway line. He's being fouled from behind. It's a clear booking if the referee does blow up. But to his credit, stays on his feet, plays a really, really clever through ball in behind the centre half to Calvert-Lewin, who, to his credit, knows that he's going to get wiped out as soon as he even thinks about going for the ball. And in very similar fashion to what Keith's just described about Dobbin's goal, with someone like Doucouré, that is a road double L or back of the net, and there is no in between. And fair play to the two lads for controlling the finishes in the way that they did, because certainly in recent weeks we've seen Everton players balloon those kind of rebounded chances. I mean, Beto's comes to mind instantly. Mick is often guilty of them, isn't he? So it just takes that little bit of composure, but sadly the composure only comes with the confidence of scoring goals, and it's very much sort of catch-22 in that regard. But we do look as though we have a very settled and a very quietly confident team about us now, and I think a few of us have said it in terms of Sean Dyche is adamant that he is going to consistently flog the starting 11 that he has decided is the starting 11. Christmas will be an important time of our season in terms of how together we can keep those lads, and obviously both injuries and in particular from today suspensions are going to play a part in the coming weeks, but you'd like to think that the lads who are stepping in for people like Branthwaite and Idris Gueye next week have all been drilled in a very similar sort of physical and mental manner, and I expect us to go from strength to strength, and God forbid we get some actual points back from the league. We could be thinking, swear to God, if we come to a final season at Goodison and somehow get into European places after a points deduction, then I think we'll have just gone full Everton in Goodison Park.
Are they still doing the European Fair Play League? Can we get in like that? It would just like nice guys for the rest of the season.
We can write the most fouls in the division, haven't we? Which is great. I love that in itself as well.
Then that there is a reflection on something I saw before the game today, and it's after 15 game weeks, Everton have the most tackles made out of any team in the league. And you loathe to say, it's very indicative of a Sean Dyche team, but it is, because he's got them working hard and he's got them pressing. And Everton teams previously have been guilty of standing off far too much, giving the opposition time to pass the ball around. And you notice today the press started from the top, and there was a couple of occasions first half where they put that Sanchez under pressure and he was forced to kick it straight out. Calvert-Lewin nearly intercepted one. So If we're giving away fouls, yeah, obviously we'll have to deal with the consequences like Branthwaite and Idrissa Gueye missing Burnley next week. But I'm quite happy with how they're playing, how they're going about the games. They're not giving away silly, needless fouls, are they? Which is another thing Everton have been guilty of in the past.
It's not like halfway line stuff, isn't it? Like, you know, relatively sensible. Loads of players we could talk about, Dave, but I thought one who was just so good today was Mikalenko. I think when Ashley Young came in, we all thought that this lad might, you know, felt like he was at a bit of a crossroads, but just dealt with everything so well today. Like, he was on the back foot against Palmer at times, but he dealt with it really well. And Sterling comes on with fresh legs. First thing Sterling has to do is pick himself up his arse after being shut down in the bottom corner by Gladys Street. Of all the players that Dyche has got the most out of and improved the most, he's got to be up there. And I was sitting there in the ground thinking, have there been many better left backs in the league than him this season? Like, there can't be many, can there?
No, not at all. And he's another couple there he can add to his list. I banged on about what he did with Salah away at Anfield. Nobody's going to refer to that because he scored 2 goals to beat us, but he had him in his arse pocket then. Palmer, who I think is going to be a world-class player, he's got the origins of being that. I think when he came over, because they started to use him right across the midfield. When he came over to Mikalenko, again, that's something I think Pochettino's looking at, thinking we've got to get at him. We can do successfully going past him. He just handles it with confidence as well, Matt. I think the great thing I see from him as well is the tackling, because he'll run anybody to the byline. Is he knows when to go the other way and not expose that side of the pitch. And you've got
one-on-one, he's great. Like,
exactly.
Can you remember him ever being skinned? Really?
No. And that's it. When the whole reason he put Sterling on was like, got to mix him up again, got to give him another shot at this. And there's nothing Sterling done when he came on. He doesn't mind being cut inside. He doesn't mind not having anybody around him to help. And I know that's one of the things we've spoken about for a while. Is Harrison not getting back to help him. McNeil at times before this little run he's on, moaning and complaining that they weren't getting back to help fullbacks. He himself has just dealt with it all, and anything's been thrown at his way. He's been my player of the season so far. And you know, the other thing there that Keith mentioned then, I just wanted to make a point to, that we start to press him from the front line. I've not liked that for a long time from us, because I think we're fine with 10 behind the ball or 9 behind the ball and 1 up there like Calvert-Lewin. Today was a different Everton to win a match, in my opinion. I thought you got a lot of lads further up the pitch for us there. You're not the back four's not sitting there on the edge of the D. They're not sitting there in the 18-yard box. They've taken a couple of steps forward. And then the other thing with Branthwaite, I thought he'd snapped his knee when people ran on.
We haven't even mentioned him, but he was classic.
Even with one leg. When he come back on second half, first when it happens, I thought Young hurt himself at the same time, and I thought Branthwaite's going off here as well. 2 substitutions, and you would have seen it from a distance away, Matt, but he was limping for quite some time. Even when he come on second half, he started getting running again and all that. But I was thinking, what level of trust does a manager have on a kid who's half injured, still playing out a game like that? Every single time I look at him, what is it now? 3 clean sheets on the spin. It's we have a block of a back four now. I think, again, concerned at the start when he put Young back to right back, because Seamus is back out, needs a bit of a rest. But anything that came our way, Patterson finally got a game as well. Another thing I've been moaning about quite a lot, that he didn't get in at right back. It's perfect changes from Dyche today, and I think he deserves as much credit as many of us like me have been complaining about what he does off the bench.
Yeah, I think the manager deserves loads of credit. But, you know, think back where we were like after some of the early games this season, and like the home defeats, and you know, I think people like Mick Green all were saying it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. The XG's going to sort itself out. But
He's got a tattoo of XG because he keeps on saying all this, you know, witchcraft.
Just finally, Colin, before we wrap up, Chelsea are absolutely crap, aren't they?
Yeah, I have no idea what their style's meant to be. They are shite. And to quote Joe Faz, Pochettino, because they are shite, mate. Yeah. That's all I've got for you. Shite.
Do you know what's mad about them, by the way? It's just a separate subject. How does Conor Gallagher get the captaincy?
was Reece James, wasn't it, initially?
I know, but I've seen him have it most of the season. I rated him, but anything I'm watching there, I'm thinking there's a load of really good players individually. Not a fucking team at all, that. They've got nothing together at all. You know, didn't the lad up front, that Brozier was the one we tried to sign for ages, isn't he? I'm glad we didn't, watching that today.
I think Colwell had it in the week as well, didn't he? It's just, it is as though it's just like a bit of a tombola for the armband before the game. It's bizarre. But
These lads as well, haven't they? 8 years you've got to have them for.
let's not go into the financial restrictions of Chelsea and Everton, but you know, it is a good point to say that you look at a team who, you know, are obviously struggling to put it all together, but to think of what they've had in terms of financial power, the players they've had, the managers that they have. You know, it was only, not until you mentioned Mauricio Pochettino's name tonight where I think, bloody hell, like, just totally brush one of his sides away there. And I think it very much shows what Everton have been good at channeling. And, you know, we all thought that the points deduction would gather some form of momentum, of siege mentality, and you know we are probably the best team in the league at using that to our advantage.
I was going to say we are probably the best team in the league.
We are. I mean, we you know, the song says we are, so we are.
The greatest team the world has ever seen.
We don't actually know the meaning of losing.
Quick note on that song. I heard Chelsea fans singing it today, and if you have to add a word in before your team's name, like they sing, and it's Super Chelsea, you shouldn't be allowed to sing that song. It should only be if your team name fits into that song.
I mean, there are a lot of songs there fans should be allowed to sing.
Their fans were embarrassing today. What I did enjoy was the fella that got huckled out, and instead of taking him out through their own fans, they pulled him over the barriers and dragged him out through the bullens. And he got absolute dog's abuse the whole way out, which was just lovely. So I hope he's having a terrible day, and I hope his bus breaks down on the way home as well.
A question here, do you reckon we'd still have done the same thing had we had the 10 points not deducted? Because this seems to have spared us on, is sort of what I'm getting at.
I'd go out my way to say probably not. I don't think we do what we have done in the last, 10 days. And I'm not saying it's the only reason. The same way that...
We still beat Forest. But like, Goodison certainly feels like galvanised now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned it earlier, Matt, in terms of you try and mentally block out some of the games that we've seen here this year. The Luton one obviously massively stands in terms of not only a team, but just an entire building of people who just didn't really buy into what was happening. And, you know, it's easy to say after a couple of wins in a week, but it is so different. Excuse me, of course. How dare I forget how prolific we are. But it's incredible to think about what is currently happening here. And, you know, we're not saying this is the start of some form of enormous dynasty, but it does seem as though there is a momentum building about this. It doesn't feel like it's by chance for me. It feels like we've got, you know, for everything we say positively and you know, from a personal view, negatively in the past about Sean Dyche, it does seem as though he knows he is very Everton, isn't he? In terms of it almost, his limitations make it more perfect, bizarrely.
I think like the way we played like today against Newcastle is very like Richarlison's just scored. The way we played today against Newcastle is like, if you're going to do a blueprint for how Everton beat top six in inverted commas teams at Goodison Park, like that's it, isn't it? It's not like trying to outplay them or trying to outpass them. It's just being fucking horrible at everything. Like
that was for me the major disappointment about Man United coming here, because everything about that game screamed, we've been wronged. It's on a Sunday afternoon, we're playing a big side, they've got loads of injuries, let's go out and bully them. And that is absolutely not how the game happened. And I know that there was an absolute fucking wonder goal that ruined everyone's afternoon that day, but you know, we said it on the way back from the game this afternoon that you can strip away all adjectives about what you think Everton should be. The only one is aggressive going forward, aggressive at the back, just generally horrible to play against. And you won't win every game, and you won't win titles by just being simply horrible. But I guarantee I'll walk into that ground every week and I'll feel like I belong to something that is meaningful and cares as much as I do. And I think that, you know, that is the one thing that Sean Dyche has brought back for me, in that, you know, we all knew what kind of Frank Lampard's Everton looked like, and that it was going to be very try-hard. But in games like that, a Chelsea team probably comes, and not just because it's Chelsea and Lampard, but they probably play themselves way more into that game than we allowed them to today. And I think if we make playing against Everton being such a chore, like we all want teams like Chelsea and like Newcastle to look at a fixture list around about Christmas and think, fuck that, not going there in the winter. And I think we are starting to get that sort of really angry feeling about us back again.
Feels like our Everton again, doesn't it?
I mean, I like this. I mean, it sounds like I like this team.
I'm engaged with them again. Do you know what I mean? You back them, you go, and you're actually like, even the United game where we didn't play well at all, but there was effort there, there was work rate there. It didn't come off that time, but there's still a team you can get behind, a team you can back, and I mean that's the bare minimum we ask for as fans, is a bit of effort, and it's
It feels like every player's leaving everything out there, doesn't it, at the moment?
You've seen it in abundance in the last few weeks. Certainly since the deduction was announced, it is like an almost like a collective, right? Well, to hell with you lot, spirit. We're gonna stay up to spite you anyway, and like I'm all for it.
I hate to say it because it becomes a tradition certain times with managers that we've had since he left. There's a lot of noise to that, I thought, and it's become something people say far too easily about it, but particularly at Everton at home, which we haven't done well this season up until the last week, that was the thing that I think Dyche was weakened on as our manager. Also Dyche himself, which is what I'm going to finish with personally, when he first came, I've got his phone number there, you know. Genuinely, when he came in and when he was linked with us, I was gutted. So I thought we've got no chance with this fella, and that was to do with feeling that we're not possibly as bad enough a side to have to play like he does to win games. And reality was, he's exactly what we needed. And going back to the point where we got the 10 points deduction, I can't think of anybody else who you'd want as the manager to try and sort this out. He's done it's a better effect than what he did initially at Burnley. He kept a shit side up back then. Now he looks like he's keeping maybe a half decent side up. And after you said you're wishing Everton Merry Christmas and everything, aren't you?
Yeah, they'll all be getting a Christmas card off me. Right, we'll leave it there because there's a game we want to watch. I mean, Andy Gordon's had 11 touches of the ball since we've been doing this podcast, which is quite nice as well. But we're gonna keep. I feel like you always do the sign-offs when we get beat heavily, and you know, you got a couple of people. But it's been a great week, and I thought it'd be a nice time to throw it over to you to sign off the podcast today.
1 week, 3 games, 6 goals, 0 conceded. 9 points, up Sean Dyche's big horrible bastards, and to hell with the Premier League.